looks like there's already a few people here. That's great. All right, hi everybody. So let me try speaking louder in this mic. So hello, so my name is Jeffrey. I'm a student here at UT, and thank you for joining me tonight on this live stream. So tonight I'm just going to go over any questions that you guys might have. I know there's a lot of, just general questions about UT admissions that you guys have because there's just all the buzz I've been seeing on the subreddit and Discord. And so I just want to take some time tonight to answer those for you guys. Oh my gosh, wow, there's like 11 people on here now. So without further ado, please go ahead and share the questions that you have in the live chat on YouTube. That's the way I'll be taking questions tonight. And I'll basically be answering them one by one. So I guess there aren't any questions right now. So what I'm going to say is just talk about, oh, actually, no, we have a question now. All right. So how do you answer to prompts like describe yourself or interview questions like that? So I think are you referring to topic A for this year? Because they did change topic A from when I applied. So let me see. I need to refresh the prompt personally. So apply admissions, essay. Where's the, oh, okay. Tell us your story. Okay, it's that one, the tell us your story one. So I don't really think UT has a describe yourself. I think you mean the tell us about your story. You can say anything about your life, really. And I think one of the best ways to go about it is to cleverly intertwine. Oh, from another university. Okay, well, this is just this is primarily focused for UT, but I'll just answer it just because. Generally, you want to take like a point in your life, or just like take one facet of your life, because in an essay with 500 to 650 words, usually you're not going to be able to explain too much. So you need to just give a brief glimpse of your life, pick one facet of it, stick with that. Maybe one moment of your life if it's that significant, but then tie it into other character traits of yourself, and just other things that you think that would be impressive or it would be nice for university to know about. Yeah. Okay. So that's how I would go about describing yourself. You don't want to make it too boring. You do really want to actually talk more about that kind of stuff, or be more specific about one aspect of your life. Okay. So, and lack of other questions, I'm going to start today by talking about AI and PAI. So you might have been seeing these terms being thrown around on the subreddit a lot, and there's a lot of questions about, okay, what is this AI? What does this PAI mean? So AI does not refer to artificial intelligence in this case. It refers to the academic index. And so the academic index is one of the indices that UT uses. It's computed by two factors and two factors only. Actually, no, three factors, but mainly two factors: your class rank and your SAT score. And the third factor is what's called units plus, and it's given as a bonus to you if you have, what do you call it? If you completed more requirements than in high school, then you're required to do so. So like in Texas, you have like the foundational or the distinguished, whatever requirements, and then you can complete more units than that. Well, that will get you bonus points on the academic index to kind of reward you for achieving more than expected. Now, in previous years, this has been a constant bonus of 0.1 points, and upon further investigation, we found through linear regression that this has changed to be a variable bonus. So really, we think that when they revamped the AI formula, I think in for the 2017 fall 2017 admissions cycle, it was found that the bonus become variable instead of constant. And so as a result, taking more units will be able, like taking more units above the bonus will help you than just taking one unit above one bonus unit. Anyway, that's a digression. Let's see. So I'll address these questions just after I finish talking about AI and PAI. I just think it's really important to kind of get that across. So AI, again, is your academic index. It's calculated by your rank, your SAT, and then the degree to which you've exceeded the required units required for graduation from Texas high school. Then we have the personal achievements index, or the PAI. And this is the factor that is going to be looking at your extracurriculars and your essays. And it's scored on a scale between 1 to 6, where 1 is the lowest and 6 is the highest. In terms of the academic index, it's on a scale from 0 to 4.1, where 4.1 is the highest, and it increments at a step of 0.1, right? Meanwhile, PAI there's just 6 PAI values: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so a good like amazing essays and national level extracurriculars will probably get you a PAI of 6. Not everyone who gets a PAI of 6 has national level extracurriculars. It might just be that you had an amazing essay, or you're just an amazing person. I don't know. But yeah, typically it's reserved for that. For me, I had, to be quite frank, I had really mediocre essays, and I had good extracurriculars, but they weren't ever national level. And so I got a PA of 5 for both my reviewers. And then my academic index was calculated from my derived class rank, because I went to a school that didn't rank, unfortunately, which makes things a lot worse. But they said that my class rank was top 3% of my school, whatever that meant. And then my ACT score was a 36, and so that translated to a 5980 for the SAT. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, a lot of people are asking, okay, so then what is the minimum cutoff for AIs and PAIs to admit you, right? Okay, I'll tell you, my AI for computer science was a 3.7, and then my PI was a 5, and that got me in. But that's actually a little higher than you need to get in. I've seen typically around, I think, a 3.6, 3.5, plus a PAI of like around 4 or 5 will get you in. That's fine. But here's how it works, though. It's not really you have to have both. You don't have to reach the threshold for both the AI and PAI. The threshold kind of changes depending on the combination, right? So the higher your PAI is, the lower your AI has to be in order to get in, and the higher your AI is, the lower your PAI has to be to get in. So let's say you had a PAI of like 4.1, which means, wow, you're a genius. Sorry, your AI is 4.1, you're a genius. Then maybe you can get some slack cut on you, and maybe you can just have a PAI of like 3 or 2. I'm totally guessing here. Maybe 3. I don't know. They don't want to have like total people who have just like no extracurriculars whatsoever, and it's valedictorian, right? But that's not really usually the case, right? So usually it's people who have like low AIs, but maybe high PAIs. And so let's say your PAI is a 6, but then your AI is like really low, like 3.0. I don't know. That's really low. If your AI is lower than a 3, that's low. Like, I'd be really concerned in that case, actually. So yeah, in those cases, a PAI of 6 would be probably enough to cover you, would be enough to like boost you, so to speak, and then that's how you'd get in. And I forgot to mention what other factors are involved when computing PAI. So usually it's like your socioeconomic status, your like where you went to high school, because depending on the quality of the high school, that might be considered into your PAI. Your race, your family background, whether you're a first generation college student or not, just these kinds of things that are pretty affirmative actiony. Those things are included in the PAI as well. And whether you like it or not, it's just reality. So please don't, let's not debate about that. It's just how it is. Okay, so now now that I have this like implanted in your minds, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the questions that you guys are asking. These are really great questions you guys have. So is it really effective if your essay is really good? For example, if your SAT score is low? Yes, actually, yes. If you have the best essays ever, you're probably gonna get a PAI of 6, and your AI can be pretty low, and you can still probably get in. Okay, so thoughts on when the main waves for admission come out? Okay, this is how it works this year. So in the previous years, okay, in my year, I applied for fall 2018 admission, which means that I was admitted between like November 2017 to February 2018, right? And that year, the waves always happened on Fridays, and they were pretty consistent, like consistently spaced apart. Last year, though, they were just at random days. And the reason why is because the admissions office got shuffled up, and the director of admissions became Miguel Wazalewski. And so this guy last year he made some huge mistakes, as you might have heard with the whole cap fiasco, where people, like a ton of people got capped who were pretty qualified. And then they appealed and just got in. And so the record number of appeals were approved because of how badly they were admitting people. And so this year, I think Mr. Wazalewski and his team have learned from this terrible mistake, and they have their act under control now. So hopefully that'll be much better. But I think what's happened is, Mr. Wazalewski, this is his second year being the admissions director here at UT Austin. And this is usually what happens in general in life when someone takes over an organization. So the first year or the first round, they're always going to just sit back and watch and just see how things have been going, maybe make a few changes. But basically, they listen to what their predecessor did. Then the second year is when they look at the way things have ran, and then they make changes. So congratulations, you guys are the second year. You guys are the guinea pigs of Mr. Wazalewski's changes, and now he is going to change things up. And so essentially what's going on now is, I think the wave patterns that have been the case in previous years have been completely busted. We've never seen this many people admitted in November, ever. This is just unprecedented. And that's great, in my opinion. I would much rather see people be admitted in November than now. In past years, it only started in December, and it was usually like mid-December there's a wave, then mid-January there's a wave, and then at the end there's like a huge wave at the very, very end of both admits and rejects and denials, right? But the issue is it's not going to be really predictable. So this year is unprecedented for us. I've been preparing this for a while. I've known this has been the case since Mr. Wazalewski took over. I just don't know what exactly is going to happen. So my prediction, from what we've seen this week, they were throwing out they're throwing out admission on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's 3 times in a whole week. That is unprecedented. I've never seen that happen before. And so my speculation is that they're just more on top of reviews now. Maybe they've even changed the admissions process. I do not know. But from what we've seen is that these admissions have been all across the board. It's been out of state, in state. Wait, it has been out of state? Okay, but it's been at least both auto admit and non-auto admit, and it's been all sorts of majors: biology, computer science, McCombs, engineering, etc. So every major is being admitted basically, except for maybe the more niche ones, such as architecture and the fine arts ones that require auditions, such as AET, etc. Those might be a little bit different, but for the most part, I think they're just changing up the admissions process overall. All right, so next question. So is the AI and PAI distributed based off of bell curve? The AI, well, by definition, the rank part is not really, I don't think, right? Because 1%, 2%, 3%, that's a uniform distribution for those of you who've taken stats. But the SAT and the ACT are supposed to be a bell curve. So I guess when you take a normal distribution and add a bell curve to it, then it becomes a bell curve. Sorry, not, all right, I'm sorry. It would take a uniform distribution, not a normal distribution. Take a uniform distribution and add a bell curve to it, then it becomes a bell curve. Right. The PAI should be a bell curve. There should only be like 1 or 2%, if not less than 5% of people who get a 6 on the PAI. And then I think it's like, I'm just totally guessing here, but like probably 10% of people get 5s. A lot of people get 4s. Many people get 3s, etc. If you get like a 2 or 1 on the PAI, I doubt you're going to be admitted. If you have like a 3, that's really a toss-up. You'd have to have pretty high AIs. I'd say around 3.7 or 3.8 in that case. But usually I see people being admitted with like PAIs of 4, and their AIs are around, like for Macombs, I'd say like 3.5, 3.6. For business, or for engineering, it's a little lower. It's like maybe 3.4. For natural sciences, it's around a 3.5. For liberal arts, probably around a 3.5 as well. So yeah, and do realize that the AIs are differently scaled. Okay, so there's 4 different AIs. There's the liberal arts AI, the natural sciences AI, the business AI, and then the engineering AI. And the liberal arts AI is the highest. Then they just subtract a few points off of the liberal arts AI to get the business AI. Then they subtract a few more points off from the business AI to get the natural sciences AI. And finally, they subtract even more points off of the natural sciences AI to get the engineering AI. And so UT Austin is officially, in this case, said like, oh yeah, liberal arts is the easiest and engineering is the hardest. So that's just how it is. No hate. That's just reality. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next question. So I've recently been auto-admitted, applied for CNS. How are you familiar with this school and their admission release dates? So as I said, it's been a little different this year, but it's not going to be like the CNS is going to be releasing decisions on a certain day, and then natural science, and then liberal arts release it on another day. It's all combined because admissions handles the admissions for every single school. All right. So we have someone who applies as a nursing major, but I'm also interested in computer science. Is it possible to switch in different majors like that? So here at UT Austin, we have something called internal transfers. And it's because at UT, it's such a big state school, and every program is basically packed to capacity. So switching majors is not as easy as it seems, or as it might be at a different school. So at UT, if you want to switch a major, you have to always apply to internally transfer into that major, and you'll be admitted based on your performance, your GPA at UT, and the degree to which you've met those degree requirements, the ability for you to graduate within 4 years, and the availability of space. And so this is one of the main disadvantages of coming here to UT, if I'll be honest, is that the internal transfer process, it's just a horrible thing because you have to apply to get into a major, even though you've already been admitted into a certain major here. And so if you were to start here at nursing, which is already very difficult to get into, and then you want to apply to CS, you're probably not going to be able to add CS because the computer science department here does not like allowing people to add CS as a second major. And furthermore, if you were to try to replace nursing with computer science, that's still very difficult just because of how competitive CS internal transfers is. Because remember, UT Austin CS is a top 10 nationwide program, and CS is a very in-demand major. And so it just makes the entire process extremely competitive. So I would recommend you doing that. If I'll be honest with you, I don't think doing CS and nursing at the same time is possible here at UT Austin. Just adding the other major is going to be very difficult. And being admitted as a freshman into one of these majors is already very difficult. Okay, cool. So it is an option. It's just difficult. Okay, so Someone asked, hi, I applied to McCombs and I was wondering what general admission stats such as SAT scores, extracurriculars, high school GPA were for those who got accepted into McCombs. Great question. I'm going to go onto the McCombs website and check that out for you right now. Let's see. So, because I don't remember them myself, sorry. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to look that up for you. Okay. Goals. Oh wait, I'm stupid. I think if you go to mccombs.utex.edu, go under programs and academics, go to Texas BBA, and then press stats. I think it should show you. So, oh yeah, admissions, and then you press admissions, and it should say yes. So for 2019, there were 8,498 applicants. 6,000. No, sorry, not 6,000. Only 1,671 were admitted, and 965 enrolled. So it's a very competitive process, and the let's see. I'm not sure why I can't find it. They like to change it up a lot on where to find this information. But okay, if I remember correctly, the average class rank is going to be like, top whatever percent. Your SAT is going to be like average is like 1,400 something. And remember, UT Austin doesn't really take into account your high school GPA, so that's not really something that they look at. But this information, I think, should be available on their websites. Let me just double check one more place. So on the subreddit, we have a FAQ, and then in this FAQ, we do have a few links. So yes, we do have a 2018 fact sheet. Let me share this with you right now. Okay, so if you check that, you can see that, yes. So the average enrolled student's SAT is a 1384 for the class entering fall 2018, which is my class, the sophomores right now. The average enrolled SAT for honors, for the business honors program, the Canto Business Honors Program, was a 1452. So I guess I got that confused. My bad. And then the average high school graduation percentile for McCombs is top 5.4%. So these are pretty competitive numbers. Yeah. All right. So then another question is, what's a good AI and PI for nursing? So my answer to that is, again, we don't really have like one threshold that you want to meet for AI and PAI. It's really about, it depends on what your PAI is, really. And I'm just going to offer, let's just say you have an average PAI of 4. I would say you should have like a AI of about 3.7, 3.8 for nursing. It's a very small program. It's very competitive, even more so than computer science. So, so really best of luck to you if that's the case. But you really should be striving to have, the best academics possible. All right, so then we have a question of, what is the difference between honors and regular admission? What other criteria do they consider in addition to more of your personality and more concrete terms? So at UT Austin, we don't have one honors college. We have multiple honors programs. And these honors programs each have their own ways to admit. So to answer your question, it really depends on what honors program you're talking about. But I can offer some insight into the business honors program, the Canvas business honors program, which would include Texas CSB. the Texas Honors Computer Science and Business program, and also the Turing Scholars program. So I'm currently in Business Honors program and the Turing Scholars program. And actually, right now I'm actually at UT in one of the buildings. I'm at the Gatesdale complex, which is our computer science building. So you can see, this is a nice building. If you're a CS major, you can, you'll probably be able to study here. This is very awesome. Hook 'em horns. But yeah, so let me talk to you about what BHP is looking for. Or in terms of like how their admissions process works. So not exactly what they're looking for, but because I can't tell you that. I'm not allowed to. Or what the BHP process looks like. So BHP applications are not reviewed by the UT Office of Admissions. They are separate, and it's actually they have both a dedicated staff still dedicated solely to admissions, as well as just the my advisors who also double up as reviewers for BHP. They'll look at your essays. They'll look at your regular application, your scores, your classes taken, the difficulty of them, your class rank, your extracurriculars. But then they'll also look at your supplement, of course, for honors. I think this year they added that new essay of the current events thing, and I'm not familiar with that because it's new, and they're not even that familiar with it because this is their first time running this essay. So it's a little bit new for everybody. Okay, and what I do like about the business honors office is that they're pretty honest people. It's very straightforward. If you deserve to be in the program, you deserve to be in it, and I think the admissions process does a great job of that. But yeah, they're basically looking for, really good candidates who are well-rounded. And so I can assure you that the BHP admissions process is truly holistic. But I will say that the UT admissions process is not holistic, because you cannot tell me that an admissions process that uses just your SAT and your class rank as 50% of the equation is holistic. How is that the case, right? That's not holistic. That is methodical and algorithmic, and sure, if that's how they want to do it, that's great, but it's not holistic. So UT admissions is lying when they say that their admissions process is holistic. It's not. But BHP's is, and most of the honor programs do have holistic admissions processes as well. And so I guess my final answer to that would be the difference between honors and regular admissions is that honors is a little bit more different, and in a good way usually, because it's more holistic. And so depending on the honors program, they'll be looking at different things compared to what UT admissions is looking for. Okay, cool. So let's see, adding on to my question, I got admitted already to UT as an auto admit, but my major is still under consideration. Could I still switch my preference, or is it too late? Yes, you can switch your preference still by filing I think it's an inquiry appeal. So if you do that under my status, you can do that, but you have to change your essays and stuff like that. So I'd be really careful about that if I were you. Talk to admissions, call them and see what's up. I think there are people in the past who have switched. I know someone who applied to UT, got into liberal arts, and then before the priority deadline before the response deadline, I think in January, they wanted to switch to CS. And so they appealed to apply to CS instead of liberal arts, and they got into CS. Later at UT, because liberal arts is relatively more open to internally transfer into, they were able to add liberal arts as like a second major, or like a liberal arts second major and a third major actually too. Yeah. So I think another commonly asked question is it possible to get into two majors at the same time as a freshman? And the answer is usually no. The only possibility right now that we know of are through honors programs. So the combination that I'm aware of, first off, of course, computer science and business. The only way to do that as a freshman is through the CSB program now. And the way I was admitted into both of these as a freshman was through BHP Turing, which is the predecessor to CSB. So I think a lot of people think I'm a CSB student. That's not the case. You could think of me as one, but I'm actually not one. It's like a grandfathered program. So I'm in business honors program, and I'm in Turing Scholars. So that's how it works. Another combination of two majors at the same time is like BHP Plan 2. I know some people who are in engineering honors entering, and so there'll be a CS and ECE or something like that. Another combination is like someone might be in engineering honors and dean scholars, and so that'll make them both a CNS major and an engineering major. Yeah. All right. So so enough about that. Let me move on to the next question. So, hey Jeff, I'm really nervous about my cutoff from top 6%, I think, affecting my chances at CNS 6.2%-ish. What are my chances if my essays are decent and I have a variety of extracurricular activities? So the good news is being just a little bit off of top 6% isn't going to make or break it, right? It's not like if you're 6%, you're safe, and if you're 6.2%, you're fucked. That's not how it works. It's like it's a linear scale, right? So the higher you are, the more advantage you get. If you're top 1%, you're basically guaranteed admission into CNS, right? Assuming your essays are not that bad. But yeah, the lower your rank goes, then the less of a chance you'll have, realistically speaking, because of just how AI works, right? And so I still wouldn't worry too much around 6.2-ish%. Keep in mind that people with top 6% ranks can still get denied from majors because they just didn't have a high enough PAI. And so that's totally possible. And so in those cases, the student would be admitted to UT, but they would have to choose another major, usually in liberal arts. So, so if you have decent essays and a variety of extracurricular essays, I think you have pretty decent chances, if not good chances. I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. So yeah, don't think you're going to get rejected because of that. I think you're fine. Yeah, there are people who have much lower ranks than you who are who legitimately are concerned about their ability to get in. So I wouldn't be worried as much as them. Yeah, and for those people who do have lower ranks, hey, it's okay. You know, life is hard. I understand. I was not an auto admit myself. I said I was top 3%, but that was a derived rank because my school didn't rank. So I was not auto admit. I could have very well been denied from UT, and I legitimately thought that I would be denied from UT, even though I had good, stats. I just wasn't sure, and you never are sure, and that's fine. It's the reality. But the best way you can, make sure that you have a better chance is by really hammering out those great essays. And I know it's hard, so please pour your all into it. My belief is that if you spend enough time writing a good essay, if you get help from people, the more time you put into it, the better results you're going to get. And so if I'll be honest with you, I didn't try very hard on my essays for the Ivy Leagues and stuff, and that's why I got rejected from all of them. So that's just how it is. Yeah. Anyway, next question: what do you think BHP or McCombs has that other top business schools don't? Well, let's see. The answer is a little different. The answer is a little different for McCombs versus BHP. I would say for just McCombs in general, we have not just a few, but we have most of our programs are top highly ranked programs, and we just have so many opportunities offered to business students here that it really does rival what you would consider as even more like the traditional top tier schools. And to be honest, McCombs has always been a very highly ranked business school. And so you should definitely be seeing it in terms of comparing it to other highly ranked business schools such as Ross, which is in U Michigan, right? Haas in Berkeley. What's another highly ranked business school? There was one on my mind and I just let go of it. Was it Kellogg? No, Kellogg's not undergrad. The one in Indiana was called wow, I'm really forgetting it. Was it the Kelly School Business? I think it's the Kelly School Business. So yeah, so these are, highly ranked programs, and I think just UT just offers so many resources. I don't know if these other schools have similar resources, but at least at UT, you can just definitely say that you have just access to all these resources, and it's just great. You're also in Austin, and Austin is a great city with a lot of entrepreneurship, and we're also not far away from Houston and Dallas, which are major tech centers. Major economic centers as well, and so I think almost all McCombs graduates who want a job will be able to find one, and so that's how it is in McCombs, and you know. Um, I've never really heard of anyone graduating from McCombs without a job. It's just not how it works. And in fact, the Business Honors Program has a 100% job placement rate. So if you graduate from BHP, you are basically guaranteed a job. That's how great our career services is. We have these amazing connections with companies that not even other departments at UT have, and certainly other schools don't have this either. So yeah, job placement is just great here at McCombs, and BHP is just much better by miles as well. I think a lot of people who are in BHP who want to do top investment banking, such as like Goldman Sachs or whatever, they'll be able to get it. Yeah, some of them, if not most of them, will be able to make that. So that's awesome. So maybe I should pivot to investment banking now. Anyway, no, I'm not going to do that because that's not my major. But yeah, finance here is highly ranked. Accounting is the best program in the nation, and since the United States is the best nation in the world, we are the best accounting program in the world, right? I don't know if it's the transitive property holds, but we have a pretty damn good accounting program here. And so, we with all these top tier programs, you're pretty much guaranteed to succeed. So here I have a low stats, 1160 SAT and 26 ACT, but they are the highest scores in my school, and I am ranked 4 out of 174 to have a chance at nursing. Not so sure about nursing, but you're obviously an auto admit, and you and based on the factors of your school, I think you should have you should still have an ability to get into maybe a slightly less competitive major at UT. That being said, I would not rule out nursing. It's just going to be a lot more challenging than others to be able to get in. Let's see. So what does McCombs have that UPenn, UC Berkeley, and Harvard don't have? Okay, well, you're not being fair when you're comparing McCombs to Wharton. Like, I'm just gonna concede right then and there. Wharton is superior. There's no challenge. I would say BHP though, it's better than Wharton in certain ways because you have smaller class sizes, like you have an intimate community that is truly vibrant, and like I know like almost everybody in my BHP class, even though we have like 120 students. It's a good balance of large versus small, and it's honestly a really great community vibe. Like in terms of like the stereotype that business students are snakes, I think BHP is a lot less snaky, and it's just a lot more pleasant to hang out with BHP students, in my opinion, than just like some other snakes that might be at McCombs. I would say at McCombs, half the people are snakes, half people aren't. So it's just how it is at every business school, actually, and just keep that in mind. Okay, so hopefully that answered that question. Also, Harvard doesn't have a undergraduate business program. So if you want to do business as an undergrad at Harvard, you basically have to do econ. So keep in mind, econ is very theoretical. We have an econ program here at UT if you want to do that. But McCombs is a lot more applied, and practical. And so one of the reasons why I actually decided I don't want to do an econ program, I actually want to do a business program, is because, you know, at the end of the day, econ is great and all, and I can learn it. And actually, I'm going to start quadruple majoring in econ beginning next semester. But that doesn't mean that it's going to teach me everything I need to know to be a good business person, right? Like McCombs's program is really good for BBA program. BBA standing for Bachelor's of Business Administration, and the business honors program classes have been comparable to MBA's program classes. So just keep that in mind. And so you won't be able to get that kind of education at most business schools, right? You can't tell me that, Kelly or Haas or Ross at UMich, that those programs are basically MBA programs. That it just isn't the case. But for BHP, it is. And that's because of our small class sizes and because our professors know to challenge us more because we're an honors program and we're able to handle that rigor. And we come out just learning so much from it. And I really love the case-based classes, and the case-based classes is what makes it like an MBA class. And so many BHP graduates who later go on to do MBAs, they actually say that their MBAs are a breeze because they've learned everything already in BHP. So they're just getting the MBA for the names recognition. Yeah. All right. So what does AI and PAI stand for? So as I said already, AI stands for Academic Index, and the PAI stands for Personal Achievement Index. Is UMass Amherst a good school? Yeah, it's a good school. I would say UT's better though. How much would our stats translate to financial aid? Money is really making me worried. So that's not really how it works here at UT. We don't really do much merit-based scholarships. We mainly do need-based financial aid and grants. And so good news is if you go to texasadvanced.utexas.edu, you can see if you qualify for your tuition to be completely free and covered by without loans. It'll be through grants. And that's through the Texas Advance pledge. And so that's saying if your family makes under a certain amount of money, your tuition is completely covered, which is amazing. And this made national news, and so you should really consider that if your financial need is of that level. I can't remember the exact numbers, but let me go pull that up right now. It's kind of important for some of you who might not come from the most privileged backgrounds, right? And so, beginning with you guys, tuition. Your tuition is completely covered if your annual adjusted gross income is $65,000 or less. And then you will receive tuition support in the form of grants if your AGI, your adjusted gross income for your family, is up to $125,000. Okay? And to qualify for this grant, you must be a Texas resident. You must submit a FAFSA or TASFA. Have demonstrated financial need, enrolled, full time. Yeah. And then you need to maintain a 2.0 GPA and remain in good standing for renewal eligibility. So yeah, that's pretty standard. There's not really many asterisks behind that. So it's a really, really good, thing you might want to consider. So definitely fill out your FAFSA if you can. Someone said Wharton is greater than McCombs, greater than Kelly, greater than Mays. Yeah, I agree with that. There's not really much to debate there. Okay, so how/when would you request a minor after admission? So that's a great question. So actually, you would request a minor once you actually start classes here at UT, and it's really easy. All you have to do is go online to a website at UT that will let you add the minors. Okay, so it's really easy. Yeah, I think it's awesome. Okay, let's see. All right, who's the greatest memer at UT? Someone said Michael Worthington. Yeah, that's the right answer. So if you don't know what this means, check out UT Long Memes for Hornsey Teens on Facebook. That's UT's unofficial official meme page. It's a great source of entertainment. Everyone's on it. If you're not on it, you're missing out. And I would recommend joining even if you're not a UT student right now. Just join. It has a lot of great memes on there. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, does anyone else have any questions? Oh, okay. I'm gonna put this user in timeout for saying inappropriate things. So let's not say anything that's inappropriate here, please. Alrighty. Cool. So yeah, I'll just continue talking about UT. In general, I think UT is a great school. We have, many great programs, and it's just admissions to here is a little tough. But after admissions, I think the kind of student that thrives the most is if you like having a lot of people around you. You don't want to just stick with one person all the time. You want to be able to get to know new things and know new people. And if you're like into football, if you're into parties, that kind of stuff, then UT is great for you. And if you're also good in terms of academics. UT academics is pretty rigorous compared to other universities. I went to UNT for 2 years for TAMS, my high school, before I came here. And the comparison is pretty valid. UT classes are much harder than UNT classes. And so UNT, you can just consider that. If you don't know what UNT is, it's a regional university. So, yeah, it's like a commuter school basically. So UT is harder than commuter schools. We are probably on the level of many rigorous schools. We're not only the best public school in the state, we're also probably the best public school in a 1,000-mile radius easily. So yeah. Anyway, we have a few more questions. How would you get into ROTC, and would showing interest in it increase your chances of getting in? I'm not too sure about that. Showing interest in certain things just makes your application more valid. It doesn't really necessarily mean that your application is necessarily going to be having better chances, because everyone could just say, oh, I'm going to do ROTC. I'm going to do this, that, and this, that. And then the admissions officer would be like, wow, you knew 1,000 things. We have to let you in now. No, that's not really how it works. It goes to a reasonable, limit. So yeah. About when can you expect to hear back if you apply at the very end of November? Between December and late February. Yeah. Oh, let me talk about when you might be able to expect some decisions. So decisions are not released based on how early you applied anymore. They're really based on how qualified you are, I guess, or if your app was just reviewed first. I think it's just randomized at this point. So don't be completely discouraged if your application was not reviewed, but you're not accepted in the first wave. That just means that, hey, what's up? That just means that you are still yet to be reviewed, probably. So if you're reviewed on in a later wave, it just means that you just got the short end of the stick, but it doesn't mean you're any less qualified than people who got in earlier. That being said, unfortunately, they only release rejection at the end. So I guess the more you wait, the more anxiety you face, and that's just how it is. But don't really think about that too much. Okay. There's a lot of people who are qualified and who deserve to get in, and they get in at the very last minute. And it's not because they're any less qualified than they think they are. It's just because of their application being reviewed later. So yeah, typically we see most final acceptances go around for priority to go out around late January, and then at the very end of January is when priority decision people who applied will start to receive cap decisions, as well as rejections from their major if they're auto admit, and then they'll be offered a choice to select another major at UT. Okay, so we have another question. Does UT consider how moving schools affects rank? For instance, I moved to a school with many more weighted classes than my previous school. So this is one of those special circumstances that unfortunately UT does not take into account in the academic index. And that's one of my main concerns about UT not having holistic admissions. It's because it's not counted into the AI at all. And so the only way it could be factored in is if you mention it in your special circumstances essay, and you just really drive it home with your essays and your extracurriculars, and that gets you a high PAI. So that's about the only solution I can think of to remedy this. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not really considered in the AI. So you're going to have a little bit of a struggle in terms of, doing that. Now, that being said, like, even for me, I did have this issue as well because I moved schools, right, in junior year because TAMS is a 2-year program. And before I went to TAMS, I actually was top 1% of my school. So going to TAMS, I guess, lowered my class rank. Oh, well, that's just how things are sometimes, right? And so that created a lot of stress in me. I didn't even know I was considered top 3% until after I started classes at UT. And I requested my admissions file back, and that's where it said that I was considered top 3% of my class for whatever reason. And so that made a lot more sense of why I was admitted, All right. So the next question is, what is your schedule like? More specifically, how's your time spread out throughout the week, especially with honors programs and the commitment for college admissions? So in college, your schedule will look a lot more different than high school. Your days are typically more varied than they are in high school, and you don't really have to go home to your parents all the time, and they're not going to be nagging on you to do this and that. And so you get to control your schedule a lot more, right? So for instance, right now I'm in the GDC, the Gates-Dell complex, which is the computer science building here. I'm not at home in my bedroom. I want to be here because I want to be here. I have 24-hour access to this building. And if I want to do homework here until 4 a.m., that's up to me. And so my schedule typically looks like I get up around, you're going to kill me for this. I get up around 10:30 in the morning, and I go to classes at 11. On Fridays, my first class is I have to teach a class at 1 p.m. for the class that I TA for. And so I have late starts every single day. So I tend to sleep pretty late. I sleep around 2, 3 a.m., if not 4 a.m. So that's why I'm holding this live stream at like 11 p.m. to midnight. It's because like I know you guys are, going to sleep in. You guys are going to stay up late. We're all teenagers. This is just how it works, right? This is how our circadian rhythm is. And so I just take most advantage of it. And so I usually have like 2 to 3 classes per day. And so I usually spend only about like 3 hours in the classroom, if not maybe 4.5 hours, but that's the maximum. I don't really spend more than that. And so, so that's a far cry from 7-8 hours a day at school. And I think it's really great that I can do that. It allows me more time to study, but you have to realize that the trade-off here is that my classes have a lot more work outside of class, right? We don't really do work in class. We just go to lectures and listen, and we take notes, and then we have to study on our own. So time management is of the essence, and how I decide to allot my time is how it works. So for instance, like I didn't study too well for my accounting test, didn't do too well on it. That's just how it works. And but I spent my time doing something else. I don't know. So it's really about making life decisions and trade-offs and whatever. That's just how college is, and that's how real life and adulthood is. So yeah, entering college will just be like that. It's a really good question. Okay, next question is, any tips for transfer students, especially those who are hoping to transfer in the spring? And by tips, I mean getting yourself around and becoming part of a group. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I will admit it is a little bit more difficult for transfer students, especially those who start in the spring, to kind of get acclimated because, the spring is like the middle of the semester. People usually aren't expecting like new people. They're just expecting like to hang out with their own people. And so I think trigs come into play in this. Trigs are transfer interest groups, as opposed to what we have for freshmen. They're called FIGs, first interest groups. These are both initiatives to help new students, get acclimated to UT. But it's better to do that with people who are like you, so transfer students. It's really tough, I think, for transfer students to make friends compared to freshmen. It's because you have a smaller, crowd of people to make friends with, etc. But what I will say is, try your best, and join clubs, join orgs. Don't be discouraged. I think just the best way of meeting new people is in environments where they're open to meeting new people. So classes, orgs, just everyday places that you wouldn't expect to make friends in. And this goes for freshmen as well. I have I've seen freshmen get alienated, and that's just because maybe they didn't really take heed of that whole make friends memo, or maybe they already there are a lot of people, a lot of freshmen who come in with a lot of friends already from their high school, and just because their high school feeds into UT, and there's not really much they can do about that. I recommend these people to maintain a healthy balance between having friends from their old high school and then just new friends. You don't want to just be stuck in your high school bubble. That's just sad, quite frankly. And so overall, I'm going to stop ranting right here. Try to make friends by reaching out and joining orgs and through classes, and you'll eventually, I think, find a way in to few friends. And also the our Discord server is can be a way of finding friends. I mean, I really try. We really try to make the Discord server an inclusive environment for people to just relax in and hang out and make friends in. So please check that out if that interests you. So our next question is, how do they pick you for another major if you get denied as an auto admit? And so they don't really pick you another major, except in a few special circumstances. But they'll instead offer a list of majors you can choose from. The only exception, so they'll usually offer liberal arts majors or maybe math or physics or something like that if you're lucky. Now, the only exception to that I know of is for chemical engineering. So chemical engineering is a very competitive major here at UT, but the thing is there is a substitute that people usually sometimes are willing to take. So a lot more people apply to chemical engineering than petroleum engineering. And in some cases, people who are applying to chemical engineering will get in, but then other people who apply to chemical engineering won't get in. They'll be offered petroleum engineering instead. It's like an alternative. And they won't really, even if they don't put petroleum as their second choice, they'll just be offered petroleum. It's like a special override. So it's just how it is. Yeah. Thoughts on learning communities for housing? I didn't live in one. I'm personally not a fan of them. I think they're kind of a fad, but I don't know. Your mileage may vary. If it means anything, I really haven't heard anything about them. I think they might be good for transfers. For transfers, it's actually really good, I think, because that's kind of the only way to make friends if you are living on campus. You should definitely be in the transfers LLC, but don't join some random LLC. In my opinion, I think it's just going to cause strife. Also, a word about housing. If you have friends you want to room with, please room with them. Don't pick some rando to room with. That's going to ruin your mental health and sanity if it doesn't go well. And so, yeah, please, you have to realize that when you're rooming with somebody, you are sharing all of your habits and everything with them. So you got to be comfortable with each other. And if you're not, it's going to create for a very stressful time in your life, because when you're in your dorm room, that's when you're supposed to be relaxing, right? You're in your most vulnerable state. Why would you subject yourself to even more torture after after a stressful day? So try to room with people that you're familiar with, that you'd be comfortable with rooming in with. How competitive is HSS, like stats and ECs? Health science scholars. Okay, I don't it's pretty competitive. I think you should have like top at least top 5% class rank, if not higher, maybe top 2 or 3%. And to be safe, 1500 plus SAT, maybe 1450 plus. I don't know, but something the stats are very high. In terms of ECs, you should just I don't know if they're as EC heavy as some other programs are, but they're pretty stats heavy, that's for sure. ECs, I don't know, go volunteer in a hospital or something. Whatever med students do, just pre-med students do, just do that. Yeah. In what other ways does UT not really give holistic reviews? I'm not sure what you mean by in what other ways they don't give it. They just don't give it. So I'm sorry. Please rephrase your question. Yeah. Off-campus versus on-campus housing, living. Oh, good question. Well, on campus, you'll live in a small dorm room that's shared with another person, and you'll have access to the place to study. You'll have a cafeteria to eat at, and you'll live on campus, so it's very convenient to walk to wherever you're trying to get to. But you might not like that, and so the off-campus apartments and living options might be more comfortable for you compared to the on-campus options. So you might want to consider that. The only issue is that they might be a little further away in terms of walking, but it's really not that bad. So I try to, yeah, if you're interested in those, definitely check them out. Okay. So is CS admission stats heavy or EC heavy? I would say it's a little bit more stats heavy than EC heavy, but because I've seen people with no prior CS experience with extremely high stats get into CS, and they're doing just fine here now, and they're graduating. I know one guy from my old high school in McKinney, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. He is graduating in 2020. He was salutatorian, had no prior CS experience whatsoever. Applied CS, got in. Now he's going to work for Facebook in next year, and that's pretty damn good. Facebook is one of the top 5 CS companies that tech companies work for, right? That's the big 5, top 5, whatever you call it. So yeah, I think stats play a little bit more of a role than ECs. That being said, if you have really good ECs, they can make up for a little bad stats. I'm talking about like pretty good CS extracurriculars. I don't mean just like I do UIL and that's it. Or like I made something once in Python. I made one small program to calculate the Fibonacci sequence. That's it. That's not enough. You need to do more than that. UTCS is one of the top 10 CS programs in the nation, and as such, you're not expected to just do some random, half-assed shit, right? You need to be doing like actual computer science projects, for lack of a better term. Maybe I'm a little bit too extreme here because I don't know. I just just been doing that kind of stuff since before college, but I mean, I see a lot of CS people here who have a great ton of prior experience in CS. So, earlier they said they really aren't holistic, even though they say they are. Can you explain further? So, as I said before, the reason why they are not holistic is because half of the equation of admitting people is the academic index, and that's calculated from your rank and your SAT. These two numbers are quantitative. They're not scored by a human. Okay, and if half of your equation is entirely based on just solely if half your equation is just based solely on test scores and your class rank, and it's a non-negotiable factor, then that's not holistic, in my opinion. So that's why I say it's not holistic. Which honors have priority or rolling admissions? So engineering honors does not have rolling admissions. They are purely stats driven, by the way. Business honors is rolling. Turning scholars is rolling. Deans, health science scholars, polymathic, they're also rolling. And they don't really follow the typical, they don't follow UT admissions' admissions pattern or decision release pattern. They follow their own system. But you'll still hear back by, you will still hear back if you applied like by November 1st, you'll still hear back by February 1st. Well, or so they say. You might get deferred, which means they need some more time to think about your application. Yeah. Is there a wave of honors or is it random? Again, totally depends on the honors program. And if a PHP they release like a few decisions at a time, it's more trickling for acceptances. They wait to release the denials at the end. So, like for instance, I knew people who got into BHP like in December. Meanwhile, I didn't receive my interview until early January, and I was later admitted on January 30th. I just was looking that up today, January 30th. And so that's quite a stark discrepancy, right? I think it works the same way for like Turing scholars, Dean scholars, polymathic, health science, etc. But not sure for engineering honors though. Plan 2, I think, is a little bit also, I think they also have waves. So I know today someone got into Plan 2. Congratulations to whoever that was. It's really awesome. Great honors program. Definitely recommend it. So yeah. It really just depends on the honors program. If you would like to ask for specifically which honors program you're asking for, then please let me know. I'm trying to answer it. Do know that some of the honors programs are a little bit more obscure. I can't really answer it for all of them. So for instance, like Moody College honors, like I don't know. That's new. That was only made like 2 years ago. It's a completely new honors program. So I really don't know. Have there been any confirmed CS admits yet? Yes, there have for fall 2020. There have been a few. So yeah. Now, as I said, even if they were admitted before you, that doesn't mean that they're more qualified than you. That just means that their app was admitted first, was reviewed first, and it just so happened that their apps are at that level. I don't know anything about the Dell Medical School. I'm only here talking about undergraduate admissions. I can't even tell you about graduate admissions, much less medical school. I think some people here do know about it, so they can probably answer that in the chat if they're still here, or ask on Discord. But yeah, I don't really know anything about med school. I don't really think you have auto admission to medical school. Just if you do like nursing here or like health science scholars here, like it's yeah. Sorry, that's not how it works. We're not a BS. Well, there's no BSMD program here at UT. So yeah. I know that Dell is pretty small and it's obviously new. So yeah, there's that. So it's still pretty competitive to get into Dell. All right. Well, I think it's almost midnight. So I'll answer a few more questions until around midnight, and then I'll kind of probably conclude the night. But yeah. Whew, it's been wow, it's been a lot. It's required a lot of energy just to answer all these questions. But you guys have great questions, so I hope they've been helpful for you. Yeah, keep them coming, please. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna just think of some stuff if you guys don't have any questions. Let's see. How do you find roommates? You can ask in the Facebook group once you're admitted. You can also just do random roommate matching, which I don't recommend because you get to pick your rooms. And if you, I don't know, random matching in that sense is just like picking a room with someone already in it. And I don't know how that's going to work. So yeah. Yeah, usually people just talk over Facebook, over the Facebook group, and you just kind of have to hope that's good. Housing options. So the best housing options I would say would be San Jacinto and Durham on campus. If you were talking about off campus for freshmen, the dorms would probably be Callaway House. Maybe even because Castilian House is slightly worse, but still not that bad. No, sorry, not Castilian House, just the Castilian. But yeah, the Callaway House is pretty good. It's very expensive. Durin and San Jac are also very expensive. And by San Jac, I mean the San Jacinto Residence Hall. Most people live in Jester. It's really, really large. Houses thousands of students every. It was recently renovated, so I honestly think it's just fine to live in. Then you've got places like the Honor Squad, Kin Solving for girls, Creekside for men, and what do you call it? Um, some other dorms like the Honor Squad, Brackenridge, Roberts, Prather, Moore Hill, etc. I don't know, just some other options. Places to stay away from, I would say, be like Creekside. Um, don't live in Dobie, which is an off-campus apartment. That's really bad. Um, and yeah, there's just like a lot more apartments that I'm not going to list about because those are usually for like sophomores and stuff, like upperclassmen. But you can also consider them if you're into that just really soon. Main thing that's good about these dorms is that they offer meal plans, and so you can go and eat in the cafeterias, and that'll keep you fed. What do I think about bringing a car to campus? So, Blanton. Sorry, Blanton is one of the dorms. Yeah, it's in the honor squad. It's probably the worst honors dorm out of all of them in terms of amenities. So definitely live in the others if you can, because Blanton dorms don't have sinks in them. Bringing a car to campus, I would definitely recommend bringing one if you think you're going to be like just going outside of the UT area a lot. Maybe you might not know if that's the case in your first year, but for me, I definitely felt like I was just trapped here on campus my first year. I could take the bus, sure, but I couldn't go to like other places that aren't served by the bus and are just too far away from the bus. And so too far away by bus. So I brought my car this year, and it's expensive to maintain a car, but it's just how it is. And thanks for reminding me about my car, because I actually was about to walk home instead of walking to my car that I drove to campus. So thank you so much about that. um, but yeah, do I know? Do you know for honors BHP Canfield waves? I don't know what that means. When are they? I don't know, usually Fridays, I think, is what they've tried to do. What they've done, what BHP does is if you get accepted, they'll call you and to congratulate you around like 3, 4 p.m. when classes, like, when they expect you to be out of school. Um, so they'll personally like call you to congratulate you, to say like, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted to BHP. And if they accidentally call your parents instead, then they'll lie to your parents and say, oh, we need to talk to your child. There's a problem with their application, and we have to talk with them. And so, yeah, very nice. Unfortunately, I never got one of those calls. Yeah, so I don't know. Whoa, oh, whoa. Okay, no, no weeps here, please. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so let's just get rid of that. I'm not going to say that word. So anyway, it's about midnight now, so I'll take like a few more, just one or two more questions, and I'm gonna end the live stream. But I really hope this has been helpful for everybody. Um, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm always available on Discord, and if you send a mod message on to r/UTAuth admissions, I can I check those, and I can respond to them. But also our other mods can also do that. But yeah, okay. One more question. We have: does UT have a lot of toxic communities? And my answer would be, I don't really think so. I think in general, like in college, there's just so many different groups of people, and the good thing about UT is that it's big enough to be diverse enough that you're not going to be like stuck with a few people. You will be able to find the people that you vibe with, and if you look hard enough and just and let me see. And maybe you don't vibe with some other people, but that doesn't make them toxic, in my opinion. So yeah. Okay, what do you think UT does well, and what does it not do well as far as admission? I think UT does well in terms of conforming to the law. The 75% of students must be auto admit. That's about it. UT admissions, honestly, is making the best of what it has been given. I really don't like it though. I think auto admission should be repealed. Ideally, just because it doesn't do a good job of being holistic. So yeah. I know you said it's very hard to add CS as a second major, but can you add a second becomes major? So in terms of adding, I don't know if you mean by adding if you are adding a second like major that is in McCombs and your first major is somewhere else, or if it's going to be like you're adding two majors in McCombs. And the answer is you can't have more than one major in McCombs. But it's the admissions rate for internal transfer into McCombs, including adding a McCombs major, is 50%. So not the hardest in the world. Oh, thank you so much for the compliments. Do you think doing a PhD at UT is a good choice? I think it depends on the topic, but most programs here are highly ranked. So I would say, yeah, depending on the program, you should definitely get a PhD at UT. I think for CS, I think UT is great for getting a PhD in. There are only a few more schools that would probably be superior to UT. UT's CS is known as a really good theory hub, right? So if you're trying to get a PhD with an advisor in theory, that's probably really good too. Yeah. So obviously UT can't compete with like MIT, Berkeley, Stanford, and Carnegie Mellon, but like compared to like Georgia Tech, UW, etc., probably along the lines of those, I'd say is good. But I'm an undergrad, so I'm not like too sure. This is just from what I've collected as from my experiences. Okay, cool. So I think that'll conclude the questions for today. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in and joining in. I hope I've answered all of your questions. If you have any more, please feel free to ask them later. And yeah, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. It means a lot to me. And so yeah, hopefully this has been helpful. All right, thank you so much. Have a nice night, guys.